In this episode, we are thrilled to have with us Julie Peters, a transformational life coach and dreamweaver who has dedicated her life to helping others create lives they truly love. Julie brings a unique approach to personal transformation by blending modern scientific principles with ancient spiritual teachings and practices. As a lifelong learner and spiritual seeker, she remains committed to deepening her understanding of her own purpose while supporting others in expanding their consciousness. In today's conversation, Julie will guide us through some profound questions about our existence and self-relationship. We'll explore whether our individual existence matters in the grand scheme of things, how to develop a nurturing relationship with ourselves, and the fascinating ways our expectations and assumptions shape our reality. Julie will also share insights on the connection between our self-relationship and financial abundance and introduce us to body energetics as a pathway to creating lives we love. Get ready for a transformational conversation that touches on freedom, peace, joy, and abundance. Hi, and welcome to Chaos and Chemistry, a podcast focused on having all the chemistry and feel-good you desire in your relationships without the chaos and toxicity. My name is Legan. I'm a former counselor turned coach, and I'm here with my friend and co-host Max.
Hey guys, my name is Max. I'm a relationship and trauma coach helping people transform their lives. One podcast at a time.
That's right. Julie, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we dive into your work with clients and the transformational techniques you use, I think it would be good to start with something a bit more philosophical that I think many of our listeners grapple with, and it's a question that often emerges when people are seeking deeper meaning in their lives. Does our existence really matter? In your work as a transformational life coach, how do you help people understand their importance in the grand scheme of things?
Wow, starting out with a doozy. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited to geek out with you all over these topics.
There's no warm up here, Julie. We just go all in.
Not. Okay.
Yeah. What is the meaning of life?
Hold my nose and jump in. Okay. We do matter as individuals. We all matter. We are all individuals representing the whole. So the whole meaning consciousness, human consciousness, universal consciousness. So we are all a divine center of the universe, not the center, but a center, because the universe is infinite. There is no center, so we're all a center of our own universe, which pulls together the entire universe. I like to think of it as, let's say, cells in the heart tissue. Each cell has an individual job, but together they're supporting the heart tissue. The heart tissue is supporting the heart. So I think of individuals are just these cells supporting the bigger organism of humanity or consciousness. And all of us are emitting our electromagnetic energy that's measurable into this field. And that's why we matter, because our energy is impacting the whole field.
Yes. And we probably all have experienced that on some level, like our energy shifting and then things in our reality shifting as well.
Absolutely. You can feel energy. Energy is felt in the body. Whatever body sensations you're having is telling you what your vibration is. So if you are having a low day and you feel kind of heavy, or maybe you're feeling down about something, you have a lower frequency energy. So you're emitting that lower frequency energy out into the field to contribute to universal consciousness. So I love that idea that I'm a team member. I'm not just here isolated and separated. I'm on Team Universe. Woo! So the body is the key. The body will tell you.
I love that perspective, Julie. It's so loving and it's so connected rather than this perspective of judgment and separation and competition and comparison, which is what we all tend to grow up with. It really highlights how essential it is to have a relationship with ourselves. And I'm curious, in your experience working with clients, how do you help people develop that? How do you help people develop and nurture the relationship with themselves? What practices or mindset shifts have you found that are really effective?
It starts with awareness. People often don't even realize they're having a relationship with themselves. So that's where I start. Guess what? You're dating yourself, or you're best friends with yourself, or you're in a contentious relationship with yourself. You are having a relationship with yourself. And so to bring that to awareness, and always the foundation of where I go is self-leadership. And that encompasses self-love, self-responsibility, self-integrity, self-respect, all the things that you would want a partner or someone you're in relationship with to come to you with and to be with you with. You want to bring that to yourself. I like to ask people, what are you looking for in your friendships or in your partnerships? And, they'll list some things off, and then I'll say, how are you providing that to yourself? And that usually stumps people. And there's a lot of people who are not treating themselves the way they want to be treated. And that's the cycle we get stuck in. I'm in lack in this area, and I'm looking for someone on the outside to fill it for me, which can never be filled from someone on the outside. It could be temporarily filled, and you might get a little oxytocin boost. But as soon as that, within, I don't know, an hour, say, or 20 minutes, depending on the situation, that external validation is gone, and then you're back to feeling that lack again. So then you're out searching again from the outside, and you end up putting a lot of responsibility on your friends and people that you're in relationship to fulfill a need within you, and that is not their responsibility.
So,
Right.
Julie, I'm curious, in your life, how did you get to this realization? So most people have never heard this, right? So they're in their separateness, they're just grinding it out, trying to, get the nice house, the 401k plan, going through the motions. What jarred you out of it and made you realize all this? Like, how did they make that transition? How did it happen for you?
It happened for me after another failed relationship, romantic relationship. And my pattern was long-term, unsatisfying, unfulfilling relationships with unmet needs. Go me.
Yeah.
So it
It's
was
so fun, isn't it? Yeah.
There's a way out, people. There's a way out. So I left the last relationship, and I was just a shell of a person. Talk about not knowing who you were. I was so busy trying to perform and be loved and be the person I thought my partner wanted me to be that I left, and I was just seriously a shell of a person. And so that's when I started going down the attachment route. That's where my journey started, and I like to take my clients down that route. Do the free quiz on what's your adult attachment style. And interestingly enough, my career prior to being a life coach was a pediatric speech language pathologist, specializing in attachment theory, which is developed in the first 2 to 3 years of life. So I was able to make all these aha connections, like, oh my gosh, why didn't I ever think about this before? But that's where I started, was with attachment. And then it was like the drama triangle, and really diving into myself. What happened? What went wrong? Where did I go wrong? And as light bulbs started to go off, I realized I needed support, and I hired a coach. And you guys were my coaches on that team. And so, yeah, that's what got me going. And I've been going ever since, and I will never not receive coaching. It's just, I think it's maintenance. It's joyful maintenance.
I was looking at your website, Julie, and you had a picture of the levels of consciousness, of human consciousness, where we got to do a whole episode on this, but there's like the low level consciousness, you're asleep, you're in a lot of suffering and pain, and then you move up to like the mid level where you're like industrious, you got things going, you have a good career, you love people around you, and then like the top third would be this awakening of like the true nature of reality. We're all one thing connected. We have vibration. There's a progression the soul has to go through to get to these awarenesses, right? So sometimes for people, they have to start. When I start with people, I can't dump all this stuff on them. I have to start with like very foundational things. What is your attachment style? How are you showing up? Like, psychology 101, emotional intelligence 101, because they're not quite ready to tell, hey, we're all one thing. There's all these energy things. You would take someone from doing the groundworks, and then slowly they would come to that realization? Or how does that process happen, I guess, in your work?
It might be a little different for people depending on where they are in their path, or how much they've lost themselves and are disconnected from themselves and their purpose here. But yes, psychologically, we're getting into what is perfectionism? How does that serve you? What does it mean to be selfish? There's a cultural understanding or connotation that selfishness is bad, but really what that is being a self-leader and taking care of yourself and making you the best team member on Team Universe possible by taking care of your own needs. It reminds me, Legan, on one of your podcasts, I remember you saying you would get home on a Friday and you've been working hard all week long. It's a lot, and it can be heavy. And you realized in your relationship something was different. It was, by Friday afternoon, it just felt a little different. And you took responsibility and looked at yourself and asked, here, Max, is an answer to your question. What do I need? What do I need?
Right.
And you realized, I just need to shake this energy off. And you would go and listen to live music and dance. You didn't make your partner responsible for what's wrong. Why aren't we having fun? What is something wrong with you?
Right.
No, you looked inward and asked, what do I need? So that's a great place for people to start to really, that's developing your relationship with yourself. And if you're developing a relationship with yourself, then you're being self-loving. You're not ignoring yourself. So asking yourself, what do I need? What do I want? How do I feel? The answers could be as simple as, I have to pee. Oh, okay, I'm going to let myself go use the bathroom, or I'm thirsty, or I'm hungry, or I want a nap. That's where it starts for some people. And then it can, be higher from there. They might be at a place where they have higher needs.
Right. And it's really changing that perception from the world is responsible, people are responsible for making me feel better, to I'm responsible for my emotional well-being. It's this huge perspective shift. Speaking of that, I'd love to explore a little bit, and I think that this is such a fascinating concept of how does our inner world create our outer experience? How do you find that, our expectations, like on Friday night, without having that awareness, I had this expectation for my husband to make me feel great. I don't know how he was going to do that, but I had this expectation. How do you find that our expectations and our assumptions, so my expectation is we need to be doing this, and my assumption that he's responsible for this, how do those expectations and assumptions that we have all day, every day about everything, how does it shape the reality we experience? What have you observed?
Yes, if you step in with expectations anywhere and you're looking on the outside for them to be met, you're going to have a struggling, challenging, painful life because people cannot meet your needs constantly the way you need to. And with assumption, your internal world is reflecting back your reality. Anything you're experiencing in reality is coming from your internal world. So if you have an expectation that your partner's going to get out their crystal ball and know that something's wrong and that you need something and they'll know exactly what it is, then that's great. But if that doesn't happen, now internally you are, you're sad. And maybe you go into blame, like my partner didn't do this for me or didn't do that to me. And so now you got let down. You had expectations, they didn't get met. Now you feel disappointed and let down. And now you have an energy of disappointment and sadness. And now that's your energetic projection into the field. Your partner is receiving that, which is not going to help the situation. And that's going to be reflected back. Your partner might be like, what is wrong with you? Why are you mad at me? And then it just starts the contention. So it all started back with a seed of what you wanted or expected, and just expected the world to know what that was and how to meet that need.
Yes.
That's a
yes.
struggle.
Yes. That connection between inside of ourselves to outer reality is so fascinating. And the more that you work with a coach and the more you do this work and the more you see the click and the way you see the cause and effect isn't what you thought, it's really mind-blowing, mind-expanding.
So,
Yeah.
Julie, my question is, okay, so if I'm a listener at home, I start these practices, I work with a coach, like we all have. I think our journeys have always been guided by people who were more ahead of us in the journey that could help us get through the blocks. And then you hit these realizations of like, we're all energy, we're all sharing energy. It's the outside world is reflecting your internal state. What does life look like in that state? Like, what's the end goal?
The end goal is to know what you want out of life. It's to know how you want to feel. It's to know what kinds of things you want to do. It's to be tapped into your dream, to know what you want. If you don't know what you want, you will never get it. Guaranteed. So step one is, and this is really the true foundation of the work with my clients, is identifying this, because people typically, they don't know what they want, or they want what they think they should want, or what people always told them they should want, or they want accomplishments to feel better. But the starting place is, what do you love? What activities do you get lost in where time just passes and you're just so present in the moment? That's what we want to try to achieve. And so we start identifying, What do you love doing? Is it gardening? Is it painting? Is it cooking? Is it running? Is it teaching? Whatever it is, find that thing that you get lost in that you really love, and building more time for that into your life as you're removing things out of your life that are not fulfilling you, that are not bringing you joy, that are bringing you stress or chaos. And it's like, boop, add in the good, whoop, take out the bad. And it's one little step at a time. It's amazing how quickly your energy changes, meaning you start to feel good because you're tuning into that true essence of who you are and what you love, what you're here to express and feel in this human experience.
So it would be like finding your true expression. The true expression was always hidden under all the trauma and kind of these self-limiting beliefs and these low vibrations. But as you clear those out, many times by removing things, your true essence comes out and your true purpose on earth. And then you're more aligned to that and you feel better.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's what it's all about, is getting back to ourselves, remembering this higher soulful self that we're here to, we get this body as this vehicle, this vessel, and this mind to support us on this project that we're on here. We have a mission. There's a reason we're here. And so beginning to learn to tap into that, and people can get overwhelmed with the question, what's your passion? I might have a prompt and lead someone through a guided meditation of, what's your perfect day? And I'll just let them create their perfect day. And some people are like, a day's not enough. I said, take a week. What's your perfect week? Do it. To get people thinking about, what is your perfect day? What do you want? What do you love? What brings you joy? And then you can start to build more of those things into your life. It makes the biggest difference, because if we're not tuning into what we love, what are we doing? Yeah. We're kind of just going through the motions. Maybe we're even just in survival mode. We're in a stress response mode, which, our country, most of us are walking around in a stress response 24/7, totally damaging our physical bodies by doing that, and our mental bodies. But yeah.
What's so great about you, Julie, is there are many, many coaches in the world. There are many counselors. There are many therapists. And there's that old line of, those who can't do, teach. And I would say that was definitely me when I was in the psychology field. But I love when people are coaching that have walked the walk. And Max and I both know, because we've just watched your transformation. I mean, your transformation has been amazing. So I love that. I love going to a coach that I know does the work. They're not just teaching me or telling me something. You've been there. You've had the courage to change your perceptions and assumptions and really change the relationship that you have with yourself. And I just think that makes you even more, what's the word? That makes you even more
relatable?
What is the word? Yeah.
Authentic?
Well,
Authentic?
You are all those things. Yes. Beautiful.
Fabulous.
It's like it makes you even more worthy of preaching it and teaching it when you have really been through your own transformation. Because letting go of things, changing the relationship you have with yourself, any type of change is scary.
One of the things that I look at, and this is good for everybody listening, when you're trying to find coaches and people to help you, it's going to be like we started this episode with. It's what vibration are they emitting? And you can feel people's vibrations. Many people, when they're in the lower levels, they can't feel the vibrations. But as soon as you get a little clarity, you can start feeling people out. And that's the greatest protector of all, because no matter what they're talking to you about, if they're trying to sell you something, whatever, they're schlepping, you can feel their energies. And the energy doesn't lie. So when I talk to Julie, I know she's for real, because she has a really beautiful energy. It's really serene. You can tell that she's done all the work to get there. And the only people that are emitting that energy have done a heck of a lot of work on themselves to dismantle all the negative beliefs and all the limiting programs. So that love radiates. And it's really beautiful.
Thank you. Energy hits first. You're right.
I want to make sure we cover the financial aspect of self-relationship, because I think that's something that so many people struggle with. You incorporate body energetics into your work, which might be new to some of our listeners. Body energetics and how that relates to your relationship, I guess, to your finances. Could you explain how we use body energetics to expand and nurture the relationship we have with ourselves in order to create lives of abundance?
Yes. So body energetics is what we've been talking about before. Is you have this electromagnetic field that gets emitted out into the universal field, and it comes from within. You're creating it within, and it starts with your thoughts, which create your feelings, which create your actions, which creates a reaction from the universe, and then you get your results. So everything, if you follow that pattern, that all of your circumstances, all of your results in life started back at your own thinking. You're thinking about yourself, you're thinking about others, and you're thinking about the world, is kind of how those three ways is how I like to look at it. Because however you perceive the world and other people and yourself to be, that's going to be reflected back to you in your results in life. This is, you can call it your self-identity or your self-concept. It's your view of yourself. It's the beliefs you have about yourself. And that sets the channel for which you will receive back. And you cannot rise above your beliefs about yourself with your results, and you won't even really go below, because you've set this limit, this limitation. These are the beliefs I have about myself. They exist within here, and anything outside of that I will not get back. So if you think of yourself to bring the money piece in, let's say you grew up in poverty and you think of yourself as someone who, I'm just not a money person, we're just not that type of people, and you define yourself as someone who's not a money person and you're never going to have a lot of money, guess what? You're right. Now, if your belief was, even if you came from poverty, you can say to yourself, I'm valuable. I am rich on the inside, and I have the ability to generate as much money as I please. And you can use energetics to draw in money, because money actually is an energy. So if you're on this high vibration around money, that I'm a rich person, and you act as if you are, you believe that about yourself, your thoughts create feelings of, I feel good and I can make money, and there's tons of ways to make money, and the universe wants to give me money. I just have to get in the flow with it. And then you feel amazing. Your vibration is really high. You'll bring money in, and all sorts of abundance. You can interchange money with anything that you want to be abundant. Full spectrum abundance, I like to say. It starts with your inner thoughts and feelings about yourself. And that is going to dictate the results that you get in life. And you can learn to shift your thinking about yourself.
What do you think is the main obstacle for people that want to manifest, have tried this, and it didn't work for them? What's going on in those cases?
I would say in most
Great question.
cases, yes, thank you, Max. I would say the biggest obstacles are you are not on the inside what you want to be, and you're hustling, you're looking on the outside to find it. And so you're doing all the things and the vision boards and the meditations and the journaling, but if you don't feel like you are that person you want to be, and you are not on that vibration, the law of attraction would tell you, sorry, you're still on this vibration, so you're going to get results on this vibration. So the biggest power move, in my opinion, in manifestation, the thing that most people are missing is this concept that Neville Goddard calls acting as if. And there's a principle in physics called the principle of least action. And that means that you want to use the least amount of energy in the least amount of time. And this is the principle that dictates the planets that are revolving, and it dictates a pulse of light and how that moves. They're all following the principle of least action, least energy, least time. And so if the psychological equivalent to that is acting as if, it's being the person you want to be. Let's say if I want to be, I'm going to say a millionaire. I'm going to use money, but please remember, this could be love, or it could be anything you love. But if I want to be a millionaire, I wake up in the morning and I start thinking and being like a millionaire. What does a millionaire do? Well, first of all, a millionaire doesn't worry about money. So if you have money worries and you're spending time worrying about money, your frequency is not on that of a millionaire. I like to think of it as you're an actor on stage. You've been given a character, and my character is a millionaire. Oh, okay. I'm going to study that character. I'm going to be around millionaires. I'm going to read about millionaires. What are they like? What do they do? You be that character, because that's how you're going to get on the frequency of a millionaire. That's the key. You can do all the right tricks, but if internally you feel like you're in poverty, that's what the energetic message is that you're sending out to the field. So it's being, act as if, become that character in every way. And that's a really challenging thing to do. If you lighten up and you're playful about it and you think of it as I'm a millionaire today, now you might not go out and buy a car in cash, but you might go buy yourself something that feels luxurious. Maybe, you buy really fancy, expensive, nice makeup, or maybe you buy a $100 tie because that feels luxurious. So you just find little ways to make you feel abundant and rich and on that level of full spectrum abundance.
Yeah. I think that the real kicker there is when you're at a lower vibrate on the consciousness scale, your consciousness level will actually preclude you from seeing what the other consciousness levels are and where you're at the consciousness level. Because you have to be pretty high consciousness to be able to see where people are on the consciousness scale. So if you're already kind of on the low, you're just starting the journey, you may not exactly know where you are. And we tend to kind of shoot higher. We're like, oh, we're up here. But really, it's telling you that you're actually down here. And that's okay. You got to love yourself wherever you are. You're perfect exactly as you are. And every consciousness level has its teachings. It's got to teach you, because otherwise you can't get to the other ones until you've learned the lesson for each consciousness level. So they're totally exactly what is for you at that given moment. So I would say you have to accept that you're not at the millionaire consciousness level. And that's okay. And learn the lessons you have to learn there so that you can boost yourself up there. Or maybe I'm crazy. What do you think, Julie?
Yeah, I mean, it is a balancing act. All of this is a balancing act. It's tricky to find the sweet spot in it. Yeah, and that's why coaching can be so helpful. Like, what am I doing? I mean, still now I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, okay, regroup.
So, Julie, I have a follow-up question. What happens for the people that are millionaires, but they're totally miserable in life? So they were able to like figure out and manifest their millionaire status, which we would think is a high consciousness status, because they are. You have to have a certain consciousness to be like really good at business and be clear-minded and see trends and everything. But at the same time, their personal life is a mess. What actually occurs in that scenario?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That just really speaks to money does not make you happy. You can have all the money in the world and still not be happy. And one way I look at that is you can hustle in the physical world and generate money through your hard work and effort and time and maybe even sacrifices. If you're not energetically matching that millionaire status, it will be a struggle to keep it, because if you're not on the frequency of it, it can go away. And if you're not on that millionaire status and you're not in that status of abundance, you're probably not going to feel great having all of that money. And so that's a sign that I worked really hard in masculine energy in the physical world to generate this money. But if I'm not able to enjoy it and relax and use it for myself and good things for myself and good things for the world, what is the point, So it's like that's when you got to really look inward and say, okay, on the outside, my bank account tells me I'm a millionaire. How much money do I have on the inside bank account? And we really want to get those lined up, hopefully in the higher end of things. And just to say one more time, if you're not aligned with a millionaire's energy, you're going to struggle to keep that money. It's not going to be fun. And then what's the point?
What I noticed too is the high success. So there's abundance there, but then because it's not a true match internally, there will be a need to sabotage or create chaos in another area of your life. Mm. So you might be able to have abundance here and chaos here for a little bit, but eventually it all comes down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amen.
And it's all
That's
coming
true.
Back to your energy, right? It's all about your energy, which is created from your internal world. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What's going on in there? What are your beliefs? What are your values? Are you in line with them? Are you self-loving? Are you being a leader? Are you connecting to your community? All of this is contributing to your energy that's going to dictate your millionaire status.
What's interesting is that money is really relative. I mean, it's a number, but someone may have $1 million, but because of where they are, they could have billions. So it's all relative. I mean, just because you have $1 million doesn't mean that you've reached some pinnacle state. I mean, you could be, if your energy was right or your internal reality was different, that would be nothing, because you'd have so much more than that. So we tend to look at this amount is poverty and this amount is wealth. Well, really, those are just labels that we've given these amounts. You might actually have more.
Yeah, it's so true. There's infinite abundance of energy, and everything is energy. So money is an energy, and there's an infinite resources to us. So you're right. If our self-identity is I'm a millionaire, and you hit that millionaire status and you say, whoa, I did it, I'm a millionaire, then you stay a millionaire. Lots of times what happens in this work, when you learn how to set your dream and set your goal, and you learn how to achieve it using your energy, when you hit that status, you want more. You're like, ooh, that was so fun. What else can I generate? Maybe it's more money. Maybe it's you're going for love this time. Maybe it's more connection in the community or in business. But you realize that you can create whatever you want. If you've met a goal, there is always more for you to achieve. And to realize that, yes, there's no end point to our successes and how wonderful we can feel.
Yeah, I always see it as the whole thing of money. Money's important, but I see it as like a journey for your soul to grow. At the end of the day, a bunch of physical things isn't going to bring you lasting happiness whatsoever. But if you are in the low consciousness state of scarcity, getting to a conscious state of non-scarcity is very important for the soul's journey. Outside of the money issue, that money comes along with a non-scarcity mindset, it's more for you to learn that lesson. Because if you are in scarcity, you're not in love, you're in contraction, you're not open, you're not vibrating very high. So it's good to have a goal to be like, okay, I'm going to get my financial house in order, so that you can get over that fear that is rooting that scarcity in your life. But you'll see that once you actually get there, if you truly get there, you'll realize that there's more to life than just money. It is really the serenity and peace and stillness I have developed in getting to this high level consciousness, which gets me to there's a book on high level consciousness, and I marked it before this, but he talks about the various levels of consciousness, and he says the lowest consciousness is like you're in rags, then you're in casual wear, then you're in suit, then you're in luxury suit, then you're in casual wear, and then you're back to rags. Because the enlightened soul doesn't need anything. The only difference between the low level rags and the high level is, he says, the high level, they're not smelly. The guy's washing them, right? But he has learned that like the consciousness of life is all that really sustains him. And then the suit was just an intermediate state to learn the soul's journey.
Oh, I love that metaphor. I love that. That's so good. And gosh, that pattern just makes so much sense. You strive and you want and you want and you get, and then you realize really what you've been wanting this whole time is a feeling, certain feelings, like you said, Max. It's not about the money or the car or the house or whatever. It's how do I feel? That's all you're aiming for.
Right.
Yeah. And really these goals we set for ourselves, meeting them is the byproduct. What you really get is growth, knowing yourself and starting to feel how you want to feel. Meeting the goal is just the byproduct. And you realize that when you get the goal and you're like, wow, this is great, but wow, look what I just did. Look how much I've grown. Look what I generated, and it's really about the growth.
You have such a clear and beautiful way of describing all of these concepts, and we're just so happy that you were able to join us today.
Thank you so much, you guys. This has been so fun.
Yes. Is there anything else that we haven't thought of that you'd like to touch on?
There is, and I'm reluctant to even bring it up, but I'm going to say it because of where we are right now. I want to talk about when horrible things that look catastrophic and terrible things in the world politically, so much contention and dividedness and anger and all of that's going on. What I want to say is, if you join the chaos with your own chaos of anger and frustration and fear and worry, you're supporting that vortex of an energy of all the things we don't like and all the things we don't want. Listen, if you don't like it, don't add to it with that same energy. Bring what you do want into the world. Remember, you're a team member. Do you want to bring more anger to this situation, or do you want to bring some love and some hope and some groundedness and some connection with people and loving the people around you? I love the law of increase. When you come across someone, no matter who it is, crossing someone in the grocery store or the checkout stand, leave them feeling a little bit better than before they crossed your path. That's your contribution to the chaos in the world. It's kindness and it's love, and that comes from within you, and it's going to reduce the power of the energies we don't like and build more power to the energies that we do like.
Thank you for that. Thank you for adding that to the show. So that brings us to the end of today's profound conversation with Julie Peters. Julie, we just want to thank you for sharing your insights on everything from existential importance to the powerful connection between ourself and the relationship with ourself and the lives we create as a result of that. For those of you feeling inspired to take the next step in your own transformation journey, you can reach Julie on Facebook at Julie Peters and also at Julie Peters Mindset Coaching, and we have the link for those in our show notes. If you private message her and mention Chaos and Chemistry, she's offering a free video call where she'll help you identify your dreams and also uncover the beliefs that might be keeping you from them. Thank you all for listening to today's episode. Remember, as Julie shared with us, your existence matters profoundly, and nurturing that relationship with yourself is the foundation for creating the life you truly want. Until next time.